Welcome to Fair Game. I'm Kristine Leahy. My guest today was the first overall pick in the 2000 Major League Draft. He went on to make 5 MLB All-Star appearances, win 4 Gold Gloves, 2 Silver Sluggers, and play for Team Mexico in 4 World Baseball Classics. Adrian Gonzalez, it's good to see you.
Thank you. Good. Thank you for having me.
This is such an interesting history because I worked in Boston when you were there playing for the Red Sox, and then when I came to LA, you were traded to the Dodgers. So I feel like I've kind of followed you a little bit.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a great transition, 2 great sports towns, so I love it,
Yeah, so I want to get right into this, and then we can get to the fun stuff. But it recently came out that the Astros were stealing signs in the World Series in 2017. When that news came out, did you automatically think, okay, the Dodgers deserved that championship?
I mean, obviously, when somebody's doing it to the extent that they're saying that they were doing it, it makes you be like, well, man, these guys had it down. But my whole career, there was always some sort of sign stealing going on with every team. So I don't think I've ever been in a team that doesn't steal signs. I think it's more humanly than having somebody doing certain things. But there's always been the guy on deck banging something on the donut or something when the catcher sets up inside. There's always been the guy at second base knowing the signs from the catcher and relaying them to the hitter. So, I mean, from that aspect of things, there's always been that going on. Obviously, having somebody else do it and more of a professional, like this is your job, that's taking it a little bit extreme.
Were you surprised?
No, not at all. I mean, the way baseball is now, everybody has somebody watching camera all the time. And I think MLB has done something that last year it started where they had a rep inside the video room. So, I think baseball knows about this stuff going on and they're trying to hack down on it. But obviously 2 years ago, it was a little bit, they were a little bit ahead of the game with that.
Yeah, clearly. Okay, let's get back now to the beginning of your career. So you're 18 years old, drafted first overall by the Marlins. How do you deal with the kind of pressure that comes with?
I mean, for me, right when I went to rookie ball, that was tough at first. But after about half a season, when I struggled, just going into professional baseball, I had a really good conversation with my dad, and my dad really kind of brought it back to earth for me and just told me, like, just be yourself, be the same person you've always been. And I had a long, hard thought about it and decided to just, let myself be myself and not worry about what other people were saying, what other people were thinking. And it really helped me my whole career to really not worry about any outside clutter and just worry about putting in the work and just doing what I could do.
And you were able to do that from that one conversation?
I was, yeah.
Good for you.
Well, I worked on it, and then eventually got to a point where I could just not worry about anything else outside, and it paid off for the rest of my career for sure.
Yeah, I feel like baseball is especially hard with that, hearing everything that people say and trying to block it out.
That, and my career was kind of going into that whole social media world where people start talking and learning to not even go into that and look at the comments and all that stuff. That's huge because a lot of people get caught up in that as well.
Yeah. Did it help for you because you were able to go play in San Diego and that's where you were born, so kind of being in your hometown?
I think so. I think that helped. I think, I'd always been very low key and very quiet guy for the most part. So, but yeah, playing in San Diego definitely helped.
It's interesting to me. You've done so well everywhere you've been, despite being traded 5 times. That's got to be extremely frustrating.
It wasn't. I think the 2 trades that caught me by surprise were, the Boston and
being traded
from Boston to LA.
Really?
And because San Diego, they had told me that they weren't even going to make me an offer and they were just going to trade me because it was the time where my contract was going to come up in a year and they were going to try to get value. So I already knew I was going to get traded for that reason.
Okay.
And then the LA to New York trade at the end of my career, that was a conversation that we've been having. And, I kind of had mentioned a couple things about wanting to give myself one more shot to be an everyday player. And then I had the conversation of like, never mind, I'll be okay if I'm a role player. And then a week later, they were like, oh, we have this opportunity to help you out to be an everyday player possibly and to save some salary. And so that was one that I was kind of, I said no about 3 or 4 times.
But
and
you
then
didn't want it.
No, and then they finally convinced me to just accept it. So
The transition from back when you went from San Diego to Boston, San Diego, I would say, is probably one of the most relaxed sports towns.
It is.
And then you go to Boston, where they're crazy. They love sports. They know sports. They're angry. They love you all at the same time. What was the transition like?
The transition was fine. It was, I mean, again, going back to that conversation I had with my dad, where I'm just going to do my job. You know, I'm just going to go out there, put in the work, play the game, and not really worry about any of the outside noise. It made it easier for me. It made it easy to just go to the field and just do what I needed to do. And I'm already a person that, you know, goes from baseball to the house to the field. So, I mean, all the other stuff really doesn't really bother me a lot or get in the way of what I'm thinking or what I'm doing. But definitely loved being out. We live right by the Prudential Center, and you know,
nice.
it was a great place to just go eat and enjoy the town and really get to know all the people that are there, but also the tourists that come in, and so it was a really good time we had in Boston.
So the media didn't affect you or get to you at all there?
You know, the media is going to do and say whatever they want, but at the end of the day, you're out there to play baseball, and, you know, you answer the questions and you move on. You don't really worry about what people say after you answer the questions. And
the fact that you live by the Prudential Center. So for people who don't know, that is like heart of Boston.
Yeah.
So you obviously were recognized a lot when you went out, because the thing in Boston too is they don't have celebrities. It's the sports players.
It's the sports, yeah.
You guys are the celebrities.
Yeah.
So you must have had your fair share of fan encounters there.
We did, and you know what? At the end of the day, I don't remember one fan that said one negative thing to me.
Wow.
And so every fan was amazing. I think the media is the ones that will try to get fans to turn and do this or that, but the fans themselves, they're the best fans, and they're always supportive and always ready to lend a hand and help you out in any way possible. So, I mean, we had a great time.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
You were also there, and I was there too, during the chicken and beer scandal.
Yeah.
What was the clubhouse like for you from your experience?
Amazing.
When you were back there?
Amazing. I mean, if you ask anybody that was on those teams, we had the best clubhouse, the best camaraderie. Again, we lost a lot of games when we should have won games, and
because of that?
No, definitely not because of that. I mean, the first conversation that happened when when that article came out, it was like they would, you know, the media should have talked about the things that were happening when they won the World Series in 2007. And then they would have been like, because if they would have lost, then it would have been a big deal. But because they won, it's not a big deal. So it's one of those things where it's like, you know, because the team lost, then they have to look for excuses. And so that's what
it was the timing of it all.
It was, yeah.
Were you guys angry about that coming out?
I think we were more angry about the people that were leaking it than the actual things coming out.
Well, right. Yeah. Because that's supposed to be your clubhouse. You guys stick together.
Yeah, and, you know,
And the front office.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then you come to LA, you have another interesting clubhouse guy in Yasiel Puig, and you as a veteran, you kind of helped him, right?
I mean, I didn't help him. I just try to be there for him and, you know, just guide him in any way, any questions or anything he has. I mean, he's got the biggest heart, just wanting to always help and be out in the community. And but, you know, he's got his, when he came in, he had those moments where he did things that he shouldn't do. But, you know, those are all things that nobody had ever said, you can't do this, you can't do that. So I was just there to say, hey, you know, whenever something happened, like, don't do that again.
Was there ever a situation that kind of stuck out to you that you guided him through, or just he came to you?
Yeah, I mean, there was so many different times. We built such a good relationship, and we trust each other, and then we're always, you know, even to the day, we're always texting and talking, and so, you know, it just I remember a couple moments when we went to Mexico and just had a really good time and did some media stuff out there, and you know, we're just able to build a really good relationship that, you know, we can continue on even after baseball. And, you know, for me, I think that's the most important thing is when I was on the field, I wanted to build relationships that lasted rather than just acquaintances.
Yeah.
So the people I was able to build those relationships with, those were very special.
And he was one of them. So in 2017, that's when the Dodgers finally go to the World Series. But for you, you're on the DL for the first time in 14 seasons in baseball. That had to be a tough thing for you to swallow. And then you see Cody Bellinger playing well, right? Yeah. How were the ups and downs of that time?
It was definitely a tough year because of the injury. I mean, that's just something that got to a point where I went in the office with Dave and I said, Dave, I can't play. Like, I cannot play. And when I went on the DL, I had been kind of not playing a few games and trying to play and not playing. And then I went to Andrew at the time and I said, if I if I don't go on the DL because Jock Peterson was coming off the DL, if I don't go on the DL, what's the move? And they said, well, Cody's going to go down. And I said, well, you can't let him go down. He's killing it. So put me on the DL. And so that was my first DL stint. And so it was a situation where I was able to understand that he was playing great. I was hurting. In order to help the team, I had to go on the DL.
Check out our YouTube channel, FairGame on FS1 to catch all the best highlights of our show. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode.